Hello, everybody. So you're welcome, and we are live. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Intentional Parents Academy live stream every Tuesday. And my name is Wendy Ologa, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. What we do at the Intentional Parents Academy is that we're here every Tuesday enlightening parents. All right, this is what we call the cathedral. So you're welcome here. You are welcome to the cathedral. It's our Tuesday 2 p.m. session, and this happens every Tuesday. We don't miss it. We're here. Come rain, come sunshine for now. All right. And you can share this link if you're listening to me. Please share this link with your family and your friends, because today I'm going to be teaching you something that you might not have learned before. All right. Or maybe you've learned it before and you're learning it in another way. So we are live. Join us. Alrighty, so I can see people joining in. Okay, so like I said, my name is Wendy Ologa, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. And I am streaming live from my office in the capital city, Abuja. Tell me where you're streaming live from and send in your location. If this is your first time streaming live on our Tuesday session, or even jamming me live, put a hashtag and say first time streaming live with you. I want to see the conversations right in the comment section. Today we're streaming live on plenty platforms. It's on purpose. We want you to see and learn and also be part of this change. So we're talking about how to prepare your child for puberty. I know that some people will see this and say, well, my children haven't really started puberty. Is this also for me? Yes, this is for everybody. I tell you something, when it comes to the conversation on puberty, it is not something you start when your children get to puberty. It is something you start even before your children start puberty. All right. So one of the things that I say every time is, how prepared are you? How prepared are you? Are you really prepared for this conversation? You know, that's the conversation of the day. Okay. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, sorry for that break in transmission. I needed to pass an information to the team. Alrighty, so whenever it is that we start the conversation on puberty, a lot of parents get agitated. It's one of the things that agitate parents. I tell you, there are too many things that chill parents, and every parent would agree with me that the conversation on puberty, it's a big deal. All right, it is a big deal, and we need to, and we must start having it. So I'm going to start my conversation with a story I had just shared. All right, I needed to reduce my music. With a story I had just shared on my timeline about Elon Musk. And, there were lots and lots of conversation under where I saw that conversation, where people are saying all these things happen abroad. Oh, we're hungry in Nigeria. Oh, our children can never think that way. Really? I saw it and I was like, is it that we prefer to be hypocritical about these conversations? Or is it that we just lie to ourselves? Is it that we just enjoy lying to ourselves? Or is it that we just wake up and we decide, you know what? I'm not going to just talk about this because I feel like I shouldn't be talking about it. Whichever the case is, let us bust the bubble for you. When it comes to gender confusion with children going through puberty today in Nigeria, it is high end. Now, when you go to the statistics of porn literacy, on porn, pornography online, one of the things that you're going to find in that conversation is that African countries are the first 5 countries that watch gay porn. And Nigeria tops the list. So when we talk about gender confusion, quite a number of people think, oh no, it's in the abroad, like we say it in Nigerian palace, in the abroad. It's no longer just in the abroad. It is everywhere. And if you do not equip your child with what they need to know, your child is going to be confused. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you have. We're talking about the great Elon Musk. It does not matter how much you have. If you do not, it doesn't matter what you know. If you don't know parenting, you will fail at it. Let me say that again. It doesn't matter what you know. If you do not know parenting, you will fail at it. It's not about, once you're rich, you automatically parent well, or once you're poor, you automatically parent well. No, I have seen poor parents fail. I have seen rich parents fail. So you need to understand that this era, the only way to actually get out of it, to actually do what it is for us to learn. I have said countless times that knowledge is a prerequisite for raising a child in the 21st century. If you're just joining me, my name is right on my t-shirt. All right, so that's on purpose. It catches your attention. Okay, so, and if you're just here and you haven't shared this link, share it now, because we're going to share it with you why you need to prepare your child. So that story I just shared is a story of one of the richest men in the world. So your riches, without you actually going to find the right knowledge, will still fail you on this journey. It's not about how much. And it's not about your location either. Your location, irrespective of where you live, parenting issues are global. So when you see some of these conversations and you see they say things like, God forbid, it's not my portion. Like we often say, God forbid is not a parenting plan. It's not my portion. It's not a parenting plan either. You must have a plan. You must put together something that is worth it. So in the month of June is our sex conversation month. It will also interest you to know that the month of June is Pride Month. Pride Month is the month where the LGBTQ, people celebrate who they are. Now it's no longer LGBTQ. I'm going to also be sharing with you much more what it is, a little bit of it. Now, the typical range for girls to start puberty is actually between ages 7 to 13. So a lot of people have come to me to say, oh, coach, there are a lot of things that has happened and all of that, I cannot join the sex educate your child like a pro. My children are not old enough, and I don't need it now. And then when you ask them how old is the child, some will say my child is 3, some will say my child is 5, some have even told me their child is 8. And yet they think they do not need conversations like this. For those who are watching on Facebook, you want to share, you can share from my personal timeline. It's streaming there as well. All right? So how can you, and boys, and then it's even been proven that 7-year-olds now begin puberty. There's something we call the prepubertal stage. All right? The prepubertal stage. And the prepubertal stage happens even before your child turns 7. So while you're waiting for your child to turn 7 and for you to start seeing all the seeming signs, I tell you, puberty already started. And your child is not equipped to actually have this conversation. You do your child a disservice when you actually do that. Because your child is going to get confused. Now we're talking about confusion on many levels. So boys also, because whenever we talk about most of these conversations, we focus on girls. Boys also go through puberty. I have heard a mom of 4 boys say to me, I have 4 boys, so I don't really need all of these causes you people talk about when it comes to sex, because I have no business with sex conversation. Wahoo, according to my son and I, is a wahoo something. All right? And anytime I hear people say things like this, especially mother of boys, I am scared. Because it means that there is a huge gap with the way we're raising boys. Obviously. So the typical range for boys to start puberty is from 9. And if you haven't started this conversation even before your child turns 5, 6, I mean the puberty conversation. The sex conversation starts as soon as you have your child. As soon as you have a child, sex conversation starts. Somebody help me write it in the comment section. As soon as you have a child, sex conversation begins. As soon as you have a child, sex conversation begins. As soon as you have a child, so a lot of people have come to me and say, Coach, what do I do? Where do you start? When do you start and all of that? You start the moment you have a child, because sex conversation is first non-verbal. Let me say that again. You start your sex conversation the moment you have a child, because sex conversation is first non-verbal. Let me see you put that right in the comment section. So there's nothing like, oh, my child is 10, can I start? Oh, my child is 2, can I register for sex conversation? Oh, my child is, it doesn't exist. Unfortunately, when we start these conversations, we go to war. Nobody goes to war, to prepare at war. You prepare for war before you get to war. It's only foolish people that fight at war. That look at strategies at war. The war ground is for you to fight. The war ground is not just for you to start planning. You don't plan at war. You plan before you get to war. And that's what makes it effective. That's why people win over the other when it comes to war. That's it. First conversation is first non-verbal. So you start it even before your child is verbal. So I have seen, a lot of, wrong sex conversations, sex education going on. People are saying, oh, you start the conversation when a child turns 5. Are you kidding? When a child turns 5, that's when you start sex conversation. There's so much to teach. Oh, yeah? There's so much to teach that you cannot plan what to teach when you get there. And, when we talk about the cumulative advantage in parenting, there are people who have cumulative advantage. All right. The cumulative advantage says that the number of years, the number of time you've been able to put in, that's what the 10,000 rule is about. That's actually what makes the difference. Now, a child who started having this conversation at a non-verbal stage will actually have an advantage over your child you started teaching at 10, because you do not have time. You do not have time. Is somebody following? If you're following, let me see you. Have you shared this link? Have you shared this link? If you share this link, let me see your comment right in the comment section. I need you to share that you have to say that you have shared this link, because we're going to be sharing some amazing facts with you that would blow your mind today. All right. So that's number one thing you need to learn. If you didn't get anything from this conversation today, remember that you start sex conversation as soon as a child is born, because sex conversation is first non-verbal. Have you shared the link? Let me say you put done in the comment section. One of the reasons why I encourage parents to invite their circle of friends to come and have this conversation is because in the curriculum of sex conversation, you can never have sex conversation exclusive of family and friends, of the other adults in your child's life, of the environment where your child is. You can never, it's not possible. So if you want, go and learn it all by yourself and come back. It will be a failed process, because your child does not operate only in your bedroom. Your bedroom is too small to raise anybody. I've said that over and again. Your bedroom is too small to raise anybody. Share it on your timeline. The people who will be able to have access to it will have access to it. Let us share information that will benefit you, and not just you. And that's why when we say it takes a village, that's what it means. It takes a village. Means that everybody is hearing the same thing that you're hearing. So how can a parent prepare a child for puberty? You need to equip yourself first. It is foolishness to think that you know everything that you need to raise a child. I'll say that again. It is foolishness to think that you know everything that is required to raise a child just because you gave birth to a child. That's why even the scriptures say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. You must understand the fact that you need to know what to do. You need to equip yourself first with answers. Unfortunately, we were not equipped with answers ourselves. So it's almost impossible for you to teach what you do not understand. The sex conversation that our parents gave us was, if you do this, you get pregnant. If you do this, you stop going to school. You become useless. You do this, you do that, you do that. Let me tell you what that was. Fear-based sex conversation. It doesn't work. Think about it yourself. It didn't work. It is the same thing we're doing now. We're raising our children in fear. If anybody touches you, run, scream. Fear-based. We're not empowering our children with this conversation. We are disempowering them. Many of us are disempowering our children in the name of actually, trying to do what all of these things that we're doing. You must understand that when it comes to sex conversation, it's not about policing your child. It's not about instilling fear in your child. It's not about controlling your child. It's about empowering them. The message you are sharing, does your child feel empowered about it? They are not the same. If your child is not empowered about your conversation, that conversation is blabberdash. Is your child empowered on what you're sharing? The information you're giving your child, does it empower your child or does it disempower your child? It's either doing one of the two things. So it's about empowering your child. How your child will make choices is about the power you deliver. Does your information deliver power or does it deliver fear? When you teach private part and public part, you're delivering fear. We don't even know most times that we're delivering fear with what it is that we're teaching currently. In fact, I'm even talking about private part and public. People have not even started the private and public part. For the record, there is nothing like private parts and public parts on the body of a child. Every single part of a child's body is private to them, including you. So all of those kind of teaching, they are teachings that they are actually disempowering the child more than empowering the child. When you say private part and public part, what you're doing is that when you tell a child that somebody touches them, when somebody touches the child inappropriately on the hand, you disempower the child with that information of public part and private part. Because that child doesn't feel empowered from the information you've given them. Because the information you've given says that when somebody touches their palm, it's not their private part, so they can't react. You must be careful with the words and the doings and the things you do beyond the words. Your interpretation, and how your child is saying whatever it is that you're giving them. Let everybody write this in the comment section. Every single part of a child's body is private to them. Every single part, including the eyes, including the hands. Because people can touch you inappropriately on the head. People can touch you inappropriately on the hand. People can look at you inappropriately. And that's what empowers your child. When you empower your child is able to make decisions irrespective of your presence. When we disempower our children, what we do is that our children become dependent on us. And that's not the aim of sex conversation. The aim of sex conversation is that a child feels empowered to deliver. And that will be void of your presence. That's what sex conversation is about. So what must you learn? We have said that you must learn. You must learn every single part. You need to learn what you're going to be teaching. It is foolishness to think you have everything it requires to raise a child just because you're a parent. You will fail at it. What must you learn? Conversations that will determine sex choices. Conversations that will determine sex choices. So I've said before that sex conversation is not about the mechanics of sex. It's not about putting penis inside vagina. That's not what sex conversation is about. And that's why you are afraid. And because also we've been taught that sex is, about secret, about silence, and all of these things thrive in secrecy, and we're empowering it. We're empowering it. And these things that I'm teaching you, Google is not going to tell you that every part of your child's body is private to them. You won't find it on Google. But I'm teaching you something that is not just inspired, something that has been recreated, something that has been practiced, something that many thousands of parents have seen how beneficial it is to them. What must you learn? Number one, what are the things you need to teach to empower your child to make those sex choices? So teaching them, when you open your leg, you get pregnant. That's nonsense. That's not what sex conversations are about. Parents, you need to learn. There's nothing like, I am a coach, I've coached for years. I am still learning, attending courses. There's nothing like, I just know it. I know it, I heard it. I know what it is. My instinct tells me. The child must be empowered to deliver void of your presence. That's the word. Void of your presence. Number one, you must be able to teach your children about self-esteem and how to build it. It's not just, you don't teach self-esteem by writing it on the board. There is a process. The people who have more self-esteem than the others, there are processes to self-esteem. And self-esteem is a rock. I have said before that if you must share self-conversation that is valuable, then your girl child must understand self-esteem like their name, and your boy child must understand self-control like their name. Like their name. The question you want to ask yourself is, do you even have self-esteem enough to exude? Because a lot of the times, parents are saying, no, can't you stand? But a lot of parents have shattered, battered self-esteem. You can't teach it. You can't teach it. You don't have it. So I say that in the school of sex conversation, the curriculum is you. Somebody help me write that. In the school of sex conversation, the curriculum is you. You can't give what you don't have. Even when you lack self-confidence and you want to actually tell your children can see. You need to build you, equip yourself. The curriculum is you, and you must understand that curriculum is you. When the curriculum becomes you, then everything changes. Number two, self-control. If you want, teach how vagina will enter the penis and people will come and have orgasm and all of that. It will never empower your child to make decisions. It will never empower your child to make decisions. What empowers your child is the ability to control themselves. That's what empowers your child. And you know what? Stop kidding yourself. Your children are sexual beings as well. They enjoy sex. If they ever get in contact with it, they will enjoy it. That's how the body is built. And you must recognize this. Part of what we're going to be teaching at the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro Challenge is this topic, this conversation. That's part of what we're going to be teaching. And we're going to be teaching you how you can actually teach self-control in the real sense of it. It's important for you to note that all of these conversations that we are having, every single one of them is very key to this conversation that you're seeking. Let's continue. Self-confidence. Self-esteem and self-confidence is not the same. Anybody who lacks self-confidence will be molested. We make bad choices. So it's not particularly about the mechanics of sex. It's beyond that. So when we say you need to learn we mean that you need to learn. That's what we mean. So self-confidence. Another thing you need to teach is self-identity. The truth of the matter is that children do a lot of the things that they do because they don't even know who they are. Not just children, every single human being. There's a way you see yourself. There are some things you will never ever do. Self-identity. You get to a point where your self-identity, you understand who you are. It is a lesson. It's sort of the things that you must teach. Self-worth. Self-worth. That's the next point. What is the worth of your being? Many children don't know the worth of their being. You don't even know the worth of your being. That's why you say some things that you say. Self-discovery. Where am I going to? There's a way you will discover your life in templates. There's some things you cannot do. Self-discovery. I was having a conversation with my son last week. He's 12. I have a set of twins that are 12. And I was having a conversation with my son. And he said to me, a lot of these people do this, and that. But because I know that I'm primed for a leadership role, I can't. See, my pastor would say some people may, but I can't. They're two different things. It comes from the discovery of who you are. When you discover who you are, some things are no longer tenable. Some things end up being untenable. The next one is self-leadership. Self-leadership. That's conversation. Self-leadership is part of it. If a child cannot lead themselves, they cannot make decisions. Unfortunately, we are raising children that cannot make decisions on their own. You know the story of the foolish virgin? Good child, everything. But they can't really make decisions on their own. Self-leadership. These are some of the conversations these are part of the things that the curriculum for sex educate your child for as a pro is going to have. And that challenge comes up first week in July. If you haven't registered, we currently have over 600 parents who have registered for sex educate your child like a pro. Our target is to reach as many parents as possible because I have seen that the conversations on sex is wrong, many of it. Self-leadership. Another one is self-expression. So many children do not understand self-expression. Some people don't even understand self-expression as adults because they were not taught the best way to actually do self-expression. During puberty, your child is going to self-express. Do they know the right way to self-express? Puberty is one of those things that actually gets you to that point. Self-expression. Would they know exactly how to do it? Self-awareness. Are they even aware of their self per time? I've written 10, and the last one is self-value, principles, and vision. Self-value, principles, and vision. See, puberty begins the process of transitioning into adulthood and the end of childhood. Everything I've shared with you here, we have broken it down to practical ways that you can teach it to your child and empower them. An empowered child is a child that can scale through when it comes to choices that they make in sex. Number 2 thing you need to teach is porn literacy. We are not teaching it because a lot of us are also inside the same thing. That's why I said in the school of sex conversation, the curriculum is you. Porn literacy. Now, when you say, God forbid, porn, my children will never see porn. Your children see porn every single day. And the question will be, what do they do with what it is that they are seeing? The question will be, how do they put themselves in a place where you get them empowered to the point where they don't just stay watching porn? Another conversation that you need to have is gender confusion. Last year at the sex educator, and if you attended the sex educate your child like a pro, and you think, oh, I've known everything. I cannot say I've known everything. It's not even possible. Last year when we taught that course, it was LGBTQ. This year is 2SLGBTQIA. Put it on Google. It will show you what it is. Two spirits, lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, queer, and according to them, other affirmative words that people use to describe themselves. Gender confusion. But the thing is, you don't teach gender confusion at puberty. Because at puberty, a child who doesn't understand gender confusion is already confused. It's a natural process. A child who doesn't understand gender confusion is already confused at puberty. So you teach it even before the child gets to puberty. The next thing is dressing. Culture, the culture in the home. If there is no family value, your child is prone to anything. One of the first things you do when you get into the inner circle is that we commandeer you to actually produce a family value system. You know that when you were growing up, something happens, your father will come to you and say, don't you know the family of who you came from? No, you don't know. Because it was not explained. It's because you were not it was not explained to you. Your family value system is the bedrock for this conversation. Your child will understand what is tenable and what is not tenable. It's not what you assume is tenable. Because assumption, they say, is the lowest form of knowledge. Assumption parenting is lazy parenting. In fact, I say that it's wicked parenting. The next thing you need to teach is emotional intelligence. I tell you why a lot of boys begin to fail in school during puberty. It's been recorded that children between 13 and 16, especially boys, lose interest in school during puberty. And in that, conversation, I found that a lot of these boys actually get to that point because these boys lose the ability to control their emotions. You tell your children, don't do this, don't do this. That's not sex conversation. You are disempowering the child because you're not empowering the child with what else to do. The question will be, what else should be done? A child is feeling something when the child is touched. You beat the child. Are you kidding me? The child will go and find that thing. Sex is sweet. A lot of us know. And for young people, it's exciting. It's intriguing. So if you don't teach them how to manage these emotions, what else to do, they will struggle. So when the child becomes a teenager, everything that is happening, they are confused. They begin to drop in the lessons in school. They begin to lose interest because the child didn't learn how to manage emotions before they became teenagers. The emotions that rage with the hormones that actually, get in the brain. If you understand how the brain works. In my book, Walking Your Child Through Puberty, let me get it. Okay. Walking Your Child Through Puberty, my book, that's it. It has a workbook. There's a particular part of it where I shared on, what happens in the brain. There's something called the puberty brain. It's a thing. The brain changes how it operates at puberty. I encourage every parent who have a child to get this book. The brain changes at puberty. It is science. I'm not going to confuse you with what I know about science. Let me not confuse you with it. All right? So that before I start using our medical terms and all of that. It's science, but when you read this book, you understand. I explained it. I have a medical background, and I used it to actually put a lot of things in perspective. Do you know that at puberty, your children will start getting lazy naturally? There's no fight. If you don't know it, you fight. Instead of empowering your child. If you don't empower your child, you disempower your child. Two ways. So your child, they become slow. The brain makes it slow. Your child needs to know what to do at puberty. How to manage the rush of those hormones. Many children don't. Because you don't empower them. You don't empower them. We're going to share a link on how you can get all of our books and how you can join the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Number E, you need to pace yourself and start early. You see all these, I don't need to learn parenting. I don't need, my child is just 1 year. My child is just 2 years. Go and ask the parents in the inner circle. They will tell you that what to learn is overwhelming. If you don't start early, you will lose time. You will lose time. You need to make plans. You need to allot, a lot. There's a lot to cover. What I'm sharing with you is just a unit in the curriculum that, they share in the course Walking Your Child Through Puberty. And this is just a part of what we're going to be sharing as Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. No two children experience puberty the same way. Some children will go through it without stress. Some will go through it and transform into something you can never, ever imagine. You know the difference? The difference is, number one, what the child knows. That's what makes the difference. Number two, what you, the parents, know. Number three, what your child is watching. Number four, the friends that they have. We do not even know that friendship conversations is part of sex conversation, which is the last one. Friendship conversations. Friendship conversation. We need to understand it. Because friendship conversation is part of the conversation. If you're having a sex conversation and your child, you've not been able to identify who is the circle of influence of your child, you have failed at it already. Because these are the people that will influence this conversation that you're having. They will influence it. Very important. What resources do I need to be able to go through this conversation, to go through this process? You need books. If you're a parent in the inner circle, I don't think that I'm going to put up the details of how you can register for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro right on my screen. Right? Let me see if I can see it on the brand. If you're a parent in the inner circle, right? you will know, you will understand. Many parents understand what I'm saying. That you need books, you need resources. You need to read. What you know is not enough. Trust me on this one. Because the change is going, it's changing. The curriculum that is being used by the people who want your children is greater than the curriculum you are putting up. You can't meet up. You can't meet up. So you need to intentionally create a system that helps you maneuver this whole thing. You can't take away friendship in the conversation of sex. No, you can't. You can't take away the courses you need to do. You need to learn. Intentional parenting is a big deal. Let me share something about friends, very, interesting. At 11, you're going to hear children, even at 10, making posts. So a child in my daughter's school was actually making posts of the fact that she's the finest girl in her school because every boy likes her. Children who have zero self-worth. Zero. And for her, that's something to be proud of. And then she comes to my daughter to come and give her levels as per, see, everybody likes me. And that makes me the finest girl in this stream. My daughter turned to her and said, that should actually make you really foolish. You need to empower your children. I wasn't there. It's in school. My daughter came back, and then let me tell you where friendship becomes a tool. She goes back to her friends and says that the friend says, as per fresh girl, yes, so, and the friend says to her, that girl is just really very foolish. So she said to the girl, the fact that boys are running after you means that there's something wrong with you. You don't even know who you are. And she said, Mommy, the girl actually was ashamed of herself when I was done. You need to empower your child. You know that Bible verse that says princes walk on foot while servants ride on horses. That's what we've made this conversation about. We have not empowered our children enough to make decisions where, putting this fear, when they now get outside, see peers doing nonsense, they fall into it because you have disempowered them. You have shattered their self-esteem. You have made a mess of everything about their being. How do you think your sex conversation of let nobody touch you is going to work? You think that's what sex conversation is about? Nobody should touch your private part. Are you kidding? The next thing you need is that you need researches. You need to understand what's happening. I shared earlier today that when it comes to gay porn, Nigeria is one of the top countries searching gay porn today. So don't come with this attitude of it only happens abroad. It's not our thing. Are you kidding? These things are with us. They live with us. It's a public stream. I might not be able to share some details. All right. The parents in the inner circle understand what I'm saying. This morning, we had a hardcore conversations. And, we had conversations. Another thing you will need, the resource you will need will be conversations. Join a parenting academy today. It's no longer whether you want or you don't want. It's not even, no longer whether, I have money or I don't have money. It doesn't exist anymore. We created a parenting plan for the parents in the inner circle. That's the academy. And, an arm of the academy. And, shared it with them. And I told them, I said, nobody gets to where they are going without a plan. Nobody. And in that, this thing, there are conversations that happen right in the inner circle that I can't even explain it myself. I can't even come here and teach you. It's impossible to teach it. Yet there are huge resources, resourceful people right in there. Learning from people who have gone ahead of you, learning from people who are making mistakes, being able to reform what it is that you currently have. Conversations in Relevant Parenting Academy has become part of the resources you need. It has become part of the resources you need to be able to get to where you're going to as a parent. And it's also fine. You can tell me, what about these people? Did they use any this thing to parent them? Was there any template? It's fine also. I usually say that it's either you're raising a king or you're raising a servant. And there must be servants in every system, in every generation. There's only one king in a community. So it's fine if you make a decision of, I don't need to raise my children in a certain way. It's also okay. So there's nothing wrong with it. So you need to understand that we've moved from the place where you're sitting down and taking it as an option to actually learn parenting. It's no longer an option, my dear parents. It's no longer an option. With what is currently happening, it's no longer an option. I shared with parents last year, and I said to them that I was sharing how the pedophiles have a curriculum to teach people how to get children. A curriculum. A well-spelled out curriculum. And you're there sitting down and saying, is there any, how did they even say it? Is there any manual? There's no parenting manual. Who told you there's no manual? I was listening to the Fathers Conference we just finished on Sunday. And it was Barrister Kinlani that said, without a parenting manual, you are headed for the same place that you were actually coming from. And many of us think, we wake up, it was Akinrobo that said that every single father must have a manual. There is a manual. There is a template. There's no template. There's nothing like, all these things that there's no manual. We can just do. You can't do it anyhow. And you have the kind of results you're seeking. For you to actually have a result, the kind of result that is valuable and relevant, you need to make a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's inclusive in your parenting journey. The same way they told us that when you get married, don't ask questions. Just go there. Now just go and be learning along. That's why we have a lot of messed up marriages today. Because we're teaching people that, they will just be learning from their mistake and just be going. Some mistakes create scars that will never leave you. So marriages have made so much mistakes that could have been avoided with continuous education in our marriages. We're putting up with the same thing in our parenting. That you want to raise your children without continuous education, the same way we've done with our marriages. And how have our marriages fared? You want to learn it on the go. They tell you, just don't talk to anybody, don't ask any question, just be learning it. Just be going. How? Something you don't have any, base for. There should be pre-parenting counseling and there should be continuous parenting system. We have a foster daughter who is married, who is already going through parenting system. She doesn't have a child yet. No child yet. There has to be a system that sustains, that teaches people what they do not know. Because there is work to do. My husband and I have been married for 13 years, and we've been in a system that teaches us what to do in marriage. People see us and say, oh, your marriage is so beautiful, it's so amazing, he said this, he said that, and all of that. You think is by just sitting down. No, we're learning. I have seen everybody who says, oh, you don't need to learn it. I have seen how the marriages are. Many marriages in Nigeria is a sham, a total sham, because there is no learning. Nobody is learning. I was listening to Barack Obama, and he was being asked how he's been able to manage his parenting, how he's been able to manage his marriage. And he said, I have paid people for the number of years I have been married to teach me on marriage. The number of days I have been parenting to teach me on parenting. And we all sit down there and say, I like Barack Obama and his wife. How? You like Barack Obama and his wife, you don't want to. You will pay. I keep saying, is it that you pay for knowledge now, you pay for it later? Either way, you do the time. 1 week in a rehab is 1 million naira. Either way, you will do the time. I just want to urge you that you need to start teaching what is required. A few days ago, it was Auntie Tima that I was sharing today that it was that a girl who is 18, a Nigerian, she's in Nigeria. A 12-year-old walked up to the mother, a Nigerian, and said to the mother, I'm into girls. I only do girls. You think these things don't exist in your country? You're welcome. The number of things we've heard, if we say it out to you, you might actually be too afraid to even continue parenting. You want to start now to actually begin your journey. Start by registering to sex educator like a pro. Book a slot to join an academy. You need continuous education. It's not pride. Take out that pride. You need to learn. You know nothing. Take it out. Take it out. I am learning every day. Every day. Throw that pride out of the window. It doesn't exist. We're talking about the life of your children. The life of your children. Your life. If it's valuable to you, you will never wake up and say, why do I need to pay money to learn? What's that? As important as the school is to your child, this is also as important as it is. You need to begin now to understand that this conversation is very key. If you're not having these conversations, trust me, you're not following yet. And if you're not having it with your children are having it with someone else. Because there is no vacuum in parenting. Somebody help me write that. Parenting abhors vacuum. If you're not having this conversation with your children, someone else somewhere is having this conversation. Is it that the tech? Is it that the media or another adult? Don't kid yourself. It is there, live and direct. Because children are born curious. They want to know. There is no vacuum anywhere. You are either empowering your child or you are disempowering your child by whatever method you're using. It doesn't matter. So when you say, I don't need to learn, it's fine also. Because your children are being whatever, empowered or disempowered with whatever it is that you're teaching them. Vacuum does not exist. If your children are not asking you, how does this thing happen? Oh, why would a girl? I like this girl that I'm kissing. When a child walks up to you, some people say, God forbid, my children will never say they are kissing a girl, blah, blah, blah. If your child is not saying that to you, they are talking to another person. If your child has never come to you before and say, oh, I like this boy, or I like this girl, the way this girl is. Oh, I really like, you are not parenting. Oh. Some other person is parenting for you. Your child cannot talk to you, there is a problem. In the academy, the moment you enter, the first thing we teach you is how to build connection, to open up conversations with your children. Many of you are not having conversations with your children. You come back home, you shout from the gate. From the gate, you scream and you enter. From when you enter the house is all on fire. For those of us who are not creating fire in the house, you come back, you're on your phone. I think I've said enough on this conversation today. And if you have questions, I can answer. But you need to register for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. It's only 2,000 naira. In fact, we are not giving out this course because of his word, right? At the end of, that's 24th, it's going to go to 15,000 naira. That's the usual price. But we allow you a very long time to be able to pay for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. This is 2.0. In Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 2.0, we're going to be teaching. If you were at 1.0, you will know that you didn't hear all of these things that I said, when it comes to the conversations that will determine sex choices and, how to teach them. So we're going to be teaching all of this self-control, self-esteem, self-expression, self-awareness, and we will be teaching it to you, okay? How you will teach it. It's not just, our courses are transformational. Even the ones that you attend for free. If you have gotten value here, let me see you share the fire emojis. Because I do not speak without you living with value. It is not possible. It's not possible. That's even a free class. Imagine what happens to you when you get into a paid class. Then imagine what happens to you when you are in the inner circle. Your brain is shifted 360 degrees. 360 degrees. You can't remain the same. Never, ever. So I urge you to join us. Take a good step. All right? Start with Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Come and test the waters, whatever that means for you. All right? Come and even say, okay, I need to even start, the conversation. Let me even learn what it is that they're teaching. Is it different from what it is that I know? If you don't learn anything different from what you know, then that means I'm not the coach for you. So we're not, we are the expectation. So when you are coming for our courses, keep your expectation to yourself. We are the expectation. And I also want to say that because we already have offered the first 300 people the 30 days of Sex Educate planner that I had already shared, is a guide, I created recently. I want to give it to people who will be in that course. So I have left it to give it to the first 1,000 people. All right, so we'll have 400 to go. Let me assure you, this 400 to go might be ending by today. I can be very sure. So you want to actually come on board, all right? You want to come on board and be part of Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. And if you're listening to me for the first time, share this with your family and friends. Follow us. Get into the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro and experience real value when it comes to parenting conversations. What we share is not on Google. You can't Google it and find it. We're like Harvard. We are the Harvard of parenting. You can't Google it and find it anywhere. We share it raw. We are the expectation. We are your expectation. Don't come with any. Keep it. Come, I will give you the expectation that you need. All right? Book a slot for the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle is our annual program that runs every year. It starts on the 1st of December of every year. We currently have 500 parents and more who are already booked a slot. We have a number. The moment we get to that number, we shut it out. We can't take you because we like to give value. We currently have over 1,000 parents currently in the academy. And I can assure you, there's a limit to the number we can take into the academy right now. And the moment we hit that number, that's why people are booking slots. The class starts December 1st. But people are already booking. If you see the sticker going on there, you will see the details of that class. People are already booking slots for it. You miss it, you wait again. Every single time you miss, when it comes to parenting, you lose. On Monday, on Sunday, it was Taiwo Akinlami at the Fathers Conference that was sharing how he had his first child at 51. And he shed tears at that session. How he doesn't have time. You think you have time? It will shock you. You only have 18 years with your children, and in that space of that 18 years, the question would be, what influence can you make? I tell parents, the parents in the inner circle know, parenting is 0 to 11. The moment you pass that stage, you are in war. It's war front. So if you've gotten to 11, you've not even started doing anything, start the war today. Start fighting, because your fight will be different. Your fight will be totally different. So you miss it, you blink, you miss it when it comes to the inner circle. Thank you so much, Tobe. You blink, you miss it. And we're not afraid of what it is that we market. We market gold in parenting. When I mean gold, I mean gold. You don't buy it anywhere. It's too precious. You will pay, and you will be glad, all right, that you actually did pay. So if you're looking at on the screen, you will see the details for you to be able to get into the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. There is a link. There's a link. If you're watching me from another country, there's a link, and that link is right in the description of this video. What you need to do is to simply click on that link, and it gives you access to make payment using any currency wherever it is that you are. But you're paying for Nigeria, this is a direct transfer, and that helps you. If you want to book a slot, you can reach out to us. Our number is on the screen. You'll find our numbers on both, any of the numbers for the TIP Academy. My team will respond to you. All right. Somebody said this is my first time joining. So let me see you share your favorite quotes. If this is your first time joining, I enjoyed this class thoroughly. I don't know. I enjoyed it. Amazing. Interesting. I loved it. If you, got something and this is your first time following, let me see you share an emoji. Let me see you hit the like button. Hit it. And remember to share this link with your family and friends. I can't see questions many times when I teach. I don't know what it is, but I don't seem to see questions many times. All right, that's fine. All right, so maybe we'll do get you to ask, all of the other questions. If you want to get our books, you can reach out to my team using the number right on the screen. Snap it, screenshot it, put it somewhere. All right, first timer, Adiu, I see you. So we'll have the book, The Discipline That Works. There's a discipline that works. Stop screaming. Stop shouting. Stop doing all those things. They don't work. All right? There is from yelling to calm. You can actually parent with a calm, this thing. So somebody's asking when is the date. The date is July, the 11th of July. All right, that's when we're starting the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. It's a 5-day challenge that will leave you amazing. All right, you can't recover. It's not that we've earned bragging rights on this parenting thing. All right, and when we have Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, it's not the same with this challenge. All right, it's somewhere you would want to start from if you're a rookie and all of that. So it sets the pace for you. This is what we're currently reading in the inner circle. So Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro runs as a course and gets to become a book, eventually as well. And then we have Connect to Correct. We have Walking Your Child Through Puberty with a workbook. We have a workbook, Walking Your Child Through Puberty. And we have Resolving Sibling Rivalry. All right? Resolving Sibling Rivalry. Okay? Resolving Sibling Rivalry is also one of the books that I've written. Currently publishing a lot more books. I believe in the transformational power of books. So, one part of the ways I want to be able to reform. And our books have sold in over hundreds of thousands. You can find them on Amazon. You can get a copy anywhere you are in the world. And one of the things I believe is the transformational power of books. So we're also pushing out this narrative, this message, using books. So that's why in the inner circle, you read books. And you make out, a portion of your whatever it is that you earn to books. Books you're buying for your children, books you're reading yourself, because there's transformational power in books. All right. How do I pay for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro? Just look at the screen. You're going to see the details of Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. The Intentional Parent Academy will change your life. I need to put this on the screen. The Intentional Parent Academy will change your life. If you're not in the academy, you're on a long thing. Thank you, Abiodu. You're on a long thing, a serious long thing. All right. The inner circle is a life changer. Let me also see what Sembe says. Come into the inner circle. This is nothing compared to what you get there. You have access to knowledge and guidance 24/7. I am a testimony. All right. We have, all of that. If you are afraid of being able to commit, all right, get into the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Look at the details on my screen. Screenshot it. Make payment. As soon as we hit the next 100 people payment, we'll have 600 plus as at today. You will not get the book. I'm not giving it out to people. I've been too lenient and too merciful. It's okay. All right. So we're not going to give it to, so we'll only give it to the first 1,000 people that gets on board with us. Thank you again for joining me. It's been an amazing time on this journey and on today's class. I had fun. I like discussing sex conversation because what I see out there, many of them don't work. They don't work. All right. This is what you really need. What happens when you miss any day of Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro? If you miss any day, there's always a link for replay. All our classes, you have access to replay. All. So you don't miss nothing. Nothing. You don't miss nothing. All right. Omolola is a senior yada. Omolola has been in the inner circle for 3 years. The inner circle has bragging rights. If you're not in the yard, then you're on your own. Proud senior yada. 3 years in the inner circle, no beans, man. Yes, and we have top star is also a level 3 yada. Amazing parent. And see, the governor is here. My husband is here. And he says to you, we need more parents to learn skills on parenting. Thank you, boss. I see you. We need more parents to learn skills on parenting. There's so much to learn. My husband is my husband, yet he's the first person, he's my first student that learns everything. We just say, so what do I need to do, coach? He gets transformed in split seconds because my husband is a believer that parenting is first about the father before the mother comes in. So I'm just a coach to him. I follow when it comes to parenting in my home. My husband leads the pack and I actually just follow him on the pack. All right, that's what I do. Okay, thank you so much. Just say you love dragging us, coach. Shaky said, just say you love dragging us. If you're in the inner circle, you will be dragged. You will be dragged and you must learn. All right. Thank you, the governor. If you don't give your children sex education, others will educate them for you. And that's it. Others will educate them for you. So you need to give your children sex education. My mom would say parenting is 0 to 8. I agree with your mom. I was just being lenient. I just wanted you to feel very good when I said 0 to 11. Because actually, when it comes to the subconscious is formed between 0 to 7. That's what the subconscious, and everything we do as a human being comes from the subconscious. So if you program the subconscious between 0 to 7, the child, gets formed. Every other thing you're doing is building on it. He's building on it. I see you, Coach Ebuka. If you have a father, you have a husband who was not at the TIP Fathers Conference, get them to get in there. Coach Ebuka, the governor, shared amazing insight, all right, on many of the things. And Ebuka is a boys coach, and yet he's in the inner circle. He teaches children, teaches parents. It's not about knowing it all. None of us knows it all. Today, I have added something to my sex conversation that I have never added before. I added it. My husband is here. I sent it to him. And I said to him, this is the thing that we need to do next as soon as the children are around. Don't kid yourself. This conversation is valid. Get on today. Join us. Let us get in. Let us get in. All right? And help our children. Thank you so much. I see you, Clara. I see you, level 1 yarders. I see you guys. The parents in the inner circle, I shared something that they need to do. A yarder shared something that they need to do today. By the time I went on YouTube, it was popping at the highest level. I would be sure that the minimum of 500 parents had already gone online to go and check that same content. I was like, my goodness. So I give it to you guys. The parents in the inner circle, have a lot. These guys are too much. These guys are too much. All right. And this is very, 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 key. Thank you so much. If you don't have parenting time in the inner circle, we teach you time. Time is the currency of destiny. Thank you, everybody, for being here. and for joining us. We really, really thank you for being here every time. So hit the like button, share with your family and friends, and get on the board. Let us come and learn how to sex educate your child. See you in the yard. For the yarders, let us go and continue our learning. There's so many things we learn in the yard that I cannot share here. If I share, you get overwhelmed. Just get into the system, and you'll be glad you did. Have an amazing day, everyone.